Another verb, Aramaic, and, oh, by the way, yes, these are examples of R changing to Y or E. And by the way, those are basically the same letter. You don't think of I and Y being the same letter, but hey, say the vowel E between two A's. For example, A, E, A. And if you make the vowel long, it's the vowel E. But if you make it short, I-ya, then the E becomes a Y. They're both pronounced in exactly the same place in the mouth and so forth. So whether you see an E or a Y. Anyway, sharak, the word for comb the hair, which I don't have to do much of anymore. And in Uto-Aztecan, siyuk. See the Y corresponding to the Y, and everything up matches fairly well. Karra, to go in circles or to do dances. In Southern Paiute, kiya, to have a round dance. Marra, to go or flow or pass by. In Semitic languages generally, Uto-Aztecan, miya. Bar or bar in Arabic, meaning field or land as opposed to water in Arabic is what it means. Uto-Aztecan, quiya. And there's actually one language that has the R, quira. So they have three examples in a row of an R between vowels going to iya in Uto-Aztecan. There are several others, but yes, we don't have time for everything. Let's skip those. Oh, here's some interesting ones. Let's take a look at these. I'm watching my clock here. So what we're going to do is give a lot of examples. Just look at them, and there's many very interesting ones. And then we'll talk about what it all means. One of the words for man in Hebrew is Adam. In Uto-Aztecan, we have otami. Another word from that same root, Adom, means red. And in fact, the verb Adam means to be red. And in Arabic, you've got Aduman, Adiman, so forth. In Uto-Aztecan, Otom is the word for brown. Okay? Red and brown, often associated. Sipor, Tzipur. The Pharyngeal Hebrew H is reflected by Proto-Uto-Aztecan ho or hu. Now the Pharyngeal H is different than our English H. It's pronounced very gutturally in the pharynx. For example, an example would be instead of aha with a regular H, aha, aha, very guttural H. And the gutturalness of it makes its tonality very similar to round vowels, and in fact it's always associated with round vowels like o and u. So here we have usually hu is what it corresponds to in Uto-Aztecan. For example, chetz is the Hebrew word for arrow. In Uto-Aztecan it's chutz. Okay, you got that pharyngeal H causing the vowel. Chamar means to smear something on something else. In Uto-Aztecan, chumai. You see the pharyngeal H going to hu and the R going to Y. Harak, same thing. Let's get some more examples here. Yes, halal is the verb to play the flute in Uto-Aztecan. Ululu, it's missing the initial H, but it's got the round vowels and the two L's. It's very similar. To cough, ahach, ohoho, and so forth. To cry or roar, sarach with that guttural H, tsayal. Okay, you've got the sa corresponding to the sa, like we said, and the Y to R, and the W, which is also like a round vowel, to H. In fact, W's and OU's are like the E and the Y. If you say ah, oo, ah, you make an oo sound between two ahs and say it faster and faster, then you get ah, oo, ah, 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 and it becomes a W. So W's and O's and oo's are very similar. Oh yes, we won't have time to go over all of these. The pharyngeal line, okay, is also a pharyngeal, but it's voiced pharyngeal instead of voiceless, and it's a sound unique to Semitic languages, not in European languages. In fact, in Saudi Arabia, you have two ayns. You have Saudi Arabia. Okay, there's an ayn between the anu, Saudi. There are consonants between those. Saudi Arabia. Anyway, the pharyngeal ayn also goes to W or O or U. That pharyngeal behaves very much like the other pharyngeal. And here are some examples. For example, the verb sa'aq is the word to cry. or cry out in Hebrew. In Uto-Aztecan, it's soak. You've got that O that shows the presence of a pharyngeal. Sha'ah, to delight in or love. In Uto-Aztecan, soa. Oh, this is a great one. In Arabic, there is a verb to grow old, specifically used for women. It's not used for men or any other kind of creature. It means for a woman to grow old. Its consonants are an ayn, a ga, and a z. Okay, ayn, gz. Al-ghaza in Arabic means specifically grow old of women. In Tarahumara, one of our Uto-Aztecan languages, identical. And it also specifically means to grow old only of women. Wegatza. For some reason, there's not such a verb for man. A little bit of chauvinism in ancient languages, but anyway, you see the ayn corresponding to the w, al-ghaza and wegatza. A word for woman, also from that, older woman. Se'ar, hair, sha'r in Arabic. Sui in Uto-Aztecan. See, the S corresponds to the S sounds, the line to the W, and the R is E again. The word for boy, na'ar, noi. Again, you see the correspondence of the ayn with the W and the R going to E. Enough of that one. Let's look at a few more here. The word for forest, yar, yui. Bala, to swallow. Quelu, in Uto-Aztecan, to swallow. Again, B corresponding to the qua, L to L, and the ayn to U. Okay? The word for leech in Hebrew and Arabic, ghalaka. Ghalaka. In Uto-Aztecan, walaka, for snail. Anyway, the Semitic aleph, or glottal stop, also acts like a pharyngeal. The glottal stop is like an and it went to W. In fact, it does in Arabic. In Arabic, you have glottal stops actually going to W sometimes. The word for lion in Hebrew, ari. In Uto-Aztecan, wali or wari. Identical, the change with the word for believe. Ya'amin means he believes in Hebrew. Yawamin means to believe in one Uto-Aztecan. Ya'amino means he believes him or believes it in is another Hebrew word from that verb. Gabrielino, Yawaino, it's missing the M, but it's actually got the O, meaning him or it as an object. The probability of those 7 segments aligning perfectly like that is, I figured out mathematically once, it's 1 in several thousand anyway. Probability of it aligning by chance. A lot of other interesting words, and we don't have time to go over all of them. Let me run to some that let's run to the Egyptian, okay? Egyptian. Oh yes, and what's interesting is in Uto-Aztecan we not only find about 600 similarities, 600 to 700 similarities between Hebrew and Uto-Aztecan, we also find about 300 similarities between Egyptian and Uto-Aztecan. This first one was not found by me, it was found by Cyrus Gordon, a renowned, internationally renowned Semiticist who just happened to notice that the Aztec word, classical Nahuatl word for crocodile, sipak, which comes from Uto-Aztecan supak, happens to be very similar to the Egyptian word for crocodile, sobek. Oh yes, and I don't know if the print's kind of small on that one, a few of them didn't get enlarged, but anyway, the old perfective in Egyptian has verbs ending in E if it was past tense or if it was passive stative kinds of things. Interestingly, in Uto-Aztecan, there's a mechanism that has verbs ending in A being active or transitive, and verbs ending in E being passive, intransitive, and stative, exactly like it is in Egyptian. The passive wa or iwa in Egyptian, exact same thing in Uto-Aztecan. In fact, there are 4 ways in Egyptian to make a verb stative or passive, and one in Arabic, and Uto-Aztecan has all 5 of them quite prominently. Goes into pronouns, but we don't have time for pronouns. Let's take a look at some Egyptian words.